So take advantage of those when you can. But I think that's part of why some of us out here, or all the guys out here for the most part, I don't know why we love it so much, but it's the grind.
Breaking news from the world of professional golf. A decision just dropped that has analysts, fans, and tournament directors scrambling to make sense of what it means for the future of the sport. A veteran player, someone who's been grinding on tour for over a decade, just announced a schedule change so dramatic that it's forcing everyone to pick a side. Is this the beginning of a brilliant reinvention or the first sign of a quiet exit? Today, we'll break down every angle of this stunning pivot and what it could mean for the final chapters of a career that's never quite lived up to its early promise. The 2025 season had been crawling along with predictable rhythm. The same faces rotating through tournaments, the same storylines with minor variations. Fans had settled into expectations, and the tour schedule rolled forward indifferent to individual struggles. But beneath that calm surface, something was shifting for one player, lingering in that uncomfortable middle zone of professional golf. Not quite elite enough to dominate headlines, but too talented to fade into obscurity. The kind of player who could still draw galleries, still generate sponsor interest, still make you lean forward during Sunday back nines even if you weren't quite sure why. The season offered glimpses, those maddening flashes. A strong opening round here, a weekend surge there, moments where everything looked pure. But consistency...
But yeah, I mean, going through, plenty of tough years now, if you look over the last kind of 5-6 years. And I've had plenty of highs, and I've seen the lows. Yeah, I mean, the tough times definitely, make you appreciate when you are playing well and when golf can seem easy. Yeah, you appreciate those because they're not going to last forever.
Remained elusive, that holy grail separating good from great. Then came withdrawals, missed cuts, weeks where the body or mind just said no. The galleries that once roared now applauded politely. The sound of nostalgia replacing expectation. Anyone who's followed sports knows that's a dangerous transition. But something different was brewing beneath the surface. The schedule was tightening, travel becoming selective, the whole operation looking less like desperate scrambling and more like strategic positioning. Equipment changes happening quietly, new prototypes and practice rounds, subtle tweaks that wouldn't make sense unless preparing for specific performance rather than grinding through endless seasons. The FedEx Cup standings reflected someone clawing for relevance but not breaking through, floating in that middle space where careers either reinvent or quietly fade. To understand why the announcement hit like it did, you have to understand the winding path that led here. The early years had been electric, solid finishes suggesting stardom was inevitable. Then came real wins, legitimate PGA Tour victories proving elite belonging. But sustained was always the problem. Between peaks came valleys that felt deeper precisely because the peaks had been so high. The kind of inconsistency making analysts use phrases like unfulfilled potential, polite ways of saying we expected more. Equipment changes started during valleys, the telltale sign of searching for answers in technology. New clubs, balls, grips, everything hoping some combination would unlock what was lost. Coaching changes followed the same pattern, new philosophies promising foundation rebuilds. For weeks, the changes seemed revolutionary, then regression crept back. But quitting was never discussed. The fire still burned, belief persisted that one more adjustment could rewrite everything. The golf world settled into a strange relationship with this player. Not quite giving up, but not quite believing either. Checking scores out of habit more than expectation. It was comfortable narrative for everyone except the person living it, because comfortable from outside is usually torture from inside. Then there was the personal life. Transformed completely while everyone focused on leaderboards. Family had entered the equation in ways it never had before. Real family with chaos, joy, exhaustion. Parenthood arrived with perspective shifts impossible to understand until you lived through it. Suddenly, endless weeks grinding through forgettable tournaments felt different. The cost-benefit analysis of another Thursday tea time looked questionable when you'd been up twice with a sick kid. This wasn't weakness or lost competitive fire. This was reality asserting itself. You can will through pain, fatigue, bad form. But you can't will away growing awareness that life is happening somewhere else while you're grinding through another practice, round at another tournament that might not matter. The travel became heavier, more logistics just to maintain family connection while living out of hotels 30 weeks yearly. Some weeks family came along, beautiful but exhausting in new ways. Other weeks they stayed home, logistically simpler but emotionally devastating. The worst part was guilt. Guilt when away missing irreplaceable moments. Guilt when home but mentally still on tour. Guilt when playing well wondering if time away was worth temporary validation. Guilt when playing poorly because then it definitely wasn't worth it. The social media posts told carefully curated stories, happy family photos with grateful captions. But anyone paying attention could read between lines. This was someone grappling with fundamental tension every professional athlete faces once family enters. How do you compete at highest level while being present for people who make life meaningful? The answer most athletes reach is you can't. Not really. You can get better at time management, build support systems, make small optimizations. But fundamentally, elite athletics and engaged parenting are competing priorities that can be balanced but never fully reconciled. For years, the default answer in professional golf had been clear. Family accommodates career. You play the schedule, chase points, grind through seasons because that's what professionals do. But what if the model itself was the problem? What if relentless schedule and grinding culture and expectation of 30-plus starts was actually counterproductive? What if there was another way to remain competitive, relevant, and financially viable without sacrificing everything else? Those questions had been percolating in conversations with family, coaches, advisors. Conversations about what success actually meant, what goals still mattered. The mathematics were simple and brutal. Elite golf doesn't last forever. Family does. And then it happened. The announcement came with straightforward clarity that somehow made it more shocking. The schedule was being cut dramatically, not trimmed or adjusted. Cut. Slashed to focus exclusively on major championships, signature events, and select tournaments with personal meaning. Everything else was now optional, and optional clearly meant no. Initial reaction was confusion more than anything. People had to read twice to make sure they understood. This wasn't temporary break or medical absence. This was clear declaration that traditional grind was over, replaced by something radically different. Golf media went into overdrive immediately. Hot take artists had weeks of content. Stats nerds could model FedEx Cup implications. Traditionalists could wring hands about degrading golf culture. Modernists could celebrate evolution. But reactions that mattered most came from inside the industry. Tournament directors faced immediate calculus. Losing a marquee name hurt, but if that player was only making 6 starts yearly, suddenly having one at your event became exponentially more valuable. Scarcity creates demand. The phone calls started within hours. Appearance fee negotiations, sponsor exemption offers, creative partnerships trying to lock down one of those precious few starts. Sponsors and equipment companies had their own calculations. Fewer starts meant less exposure, but this player maintained cultural relevance transcending week-to-week performance. Limited appearances could amplify impact rather than dilute it. 6 tournaments generating maximum buzz might deliver better ROI than 30 weeks of background noise. The apparel deals were already adapting. Limited edition drops timed to appearances. Exclusive collaborations leveraging scarcity as feature. The marketing wrote itself. Fan reactions split predictably. Traditionalists labeled it soft, betrayal of blue-collar grind defining real competitors. They pointed to previous eras playing hurt, tired, through family obligations because that's what champions did. Modernists countered this was evolution, recognition that golf's schedule model was built for different era. Work-life balance wasn't weakness. Strategic planning wasn't cowardice. Twitter became battlefield. Reddit threads stretched hundreds of comments. Golf podcasts dedicated entire episodes debating every angle. Because here's the thing about decisions this big. You can't control how people react. All you can do is commit fully and let results over time prove or disprove wisdom. Tournament directors who secured starts immediately adjusted entire marketing strategy. This wasn't just another player in field. This was event, destination, reason for fans to show up. Limited availability creates urgency driving ticket sales and sponsorship. But while public argued about competitive implications, business mechanics were already in motion. This decision wasn't impulsive. This was calculated, strategic, built on months of planning, ensuring financial sustainability regardless of competitive results. Equipment situation resolved quietly before announcement. New partnerships secured, new setups optimized for peak performance rather than week-to-week consistency. The focus shifted from reliable for 30 tournaments to perfect for 6. Apparel arrangements evolved similarly. Instead of outfit variety across 30 weeks, strategy became creating signature looks for major moments. Limited capsules generating buzz and selling out quickly. Exclusivity replaced ubiquity as organizing principle. Content strategy adjusted to leverage scarcity. Behind-scenes preparation for 6 big weeks. Features about decision-making process. Every piece served broader narrative about intentional sustainable excellence. The financial modeling was fascinating. Appearance fees for select tournaments increased significantly because scarcity drove demand. Sponsor budgets could be concentrated rather than spread thin. Equipment partnerships paid premium for focused testing feedback. Personal brand remained strong enough to command licensing deals and collaborations, not requiring tournament performance at all. This wasn't someone financially dependent on week-to-week prize money. This was someone who'd built commercial infrastructure sustaining comfortable lifestyle regardless of competitive results. But most important business angle was a long-term play. This wasn't about maximizing 2025 income. This was about extending career longevity by 3 to 5 years by reducing wear and tear, maintaining commercial appeal by remaining culturally relevant even when not competitively dominant, positioning for post-playing opportunities valuing name recognition over current world ranking. Grinding through 30 tournaments yearly might generate more short-term prize money, but playing 6 strategic events while maintaining health and family happiness might generate more total career earnings when factoring reduced medical costs, extended career length, sustained commercial partnerships. Yet all the business logic couldn't change one fundamental truth. This would ultimately be judged by competitive results. If selective schedule led to better performances during marquee weeks, entire strategy would be validated and probably copied. If lack of regular competition led to rust and poor showings when it mattered, every critic would be proven right and experiment labeled failure. That's what made legacy implications so fascinating and fraught. At this career stage, every decision gets filtered through lens of how history remembers you. The optimistic scenario wrote itself easily. Reduced schedule leads to improved health. Better practice leads to sharper performance during 6 biggest weeks. 1 major championship win would instantly validate everything. 2 would make it legendary. The pessimistic scenario was equally clear. Limited experience leads to rust. Poor showings at majors confirm regular competition essential. Legacy ends with unfulfilled potential and what-ifs. Both scenarios were plausible, which made every tournament appearance loaded with meaning. Every round became evidence for one interpretation or other. Ryder Cup implications added another layer. Selection process heavily favored players accumulating points through regular competition. 6 tournament schedule made automatic qualification virtually impossible. That meant relying on captains' picks, introducing politics and perception. Would captains select based on past performance and leadership, or default to players grinding full schedules? If you're enjoying this so far, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. It really helps the channel. Hall of Fame discussions entered similar murky territory. Career to date probably warranted eventual induction based on victories, longevity, cultural impact. But Halls of Fame are subjective, influenced by narratives and vibes as much as statistics. Would voters credit strategic career extension as smart adaptation, or hold it against them as reduced commitment? The answer would depend on competitive results during selective appearances. But perhaps most interesting legacy question was about influence and precedent. If this worked, if strategic scheduling proved viable for players with sufficient leverage, it would fundamentally alter how next generation approached career planning. It would validate choosing quality of life over traditional measures of professional dedication. That potential shift threatened traditional golf culture in ways beyond one player's results. If everyone with marquee appeal started demanding selective schedules, entire tour structure would need evolution. The critics understood those implications, which is why opposition felt so intense. This wasn't really about one player's schedule choices. This was about defending culture and structure governing professional golf for generations. The supporters understood same implications, which is why enthusiasm ran deep. This was about player empowerment, athletes claiming autonomy over careers in ways tour structure historically discouraged. It represented power shift. And power shifts always generate fierce resistance. So, where does that leave us? Halfway through 2025, watching this experiment unfold with entire golf world picking sides and waiting to see what happens when everything is online. Early results have been mixed, which somehow makes story more compelling. Some weeks showcase strategy's potential. Fresh legs, sharp focus, performances reminding everyone why this player earned their reputation. Those weeks generate excitement, validate approach, make believers of skeptics. Other weeks expose challenges, competitive rust, timing issues, stretches where lack of regular tournament rhythm seem to hurt. Those weeks fuel criticism, generate hot takes about strategy failing, make supporters nervous about whether this works long term. But nothing conclusive has emerged because we're still too early. Career decisions like this get judged over years, not months. What we know now is conversation is shifted permanently. You can't unring this bell. Whether competitive results validate strategy or not, mere fact it was attempted changes what's possible. It creates template other players can consider, modify, adapt to their situations. The business model is already proven. Financial infrastructure works. Commercial partnerships adjusted successfully. Even if competitive results disappoint, off-course strategy demonstrated viability. Tournament directors are adapting thinking. Players having different conversations with teams. Agents modeling alternative career paths not requiring traditional grinding. Entire ecosystem evolving in response to this choice, regardless of whether it produces hoped-for competitive results. And that's what makes this story fascinating beyond immediate outcomes. This isn't just about one career or season. This is about collision between traditional golf culture and modern athlete empowerment. About tension between institutional expectations and individual autonomy. The majors ahead will tell us more. Signature events will provide data. Year-end results will shape narratives. But complete story won't be written for years, maybe decades, when we can look back and see whether this was beginning of new career model or interesting experiment that fell short. Either way, conversation has been permanently altered, assumptions challenged, possibilities expanded. Because all it takes is one breakthrough week to vindicate everything. One major championship Sunday where all the strategy and sacrifice culminates in that moment of pure excellence, rewriting narratives instantly. That possibility, that chance for complete validation, is what keeps everyone watching so closely. The decision has been made, the strategy is set. The business infrastructure is in place. Now comes the only part that actually matters in sports. The competition, the results, the moments where theory meets reality, and we find out if strategic brilliance can overcome cultural expectations. The golf world holds its breath and watches every shot with weight of career legacy attached. Because this isn't just about making cuts or accumulating points anymore. This is about proving there's another way to build a career in professional golf. One that honors both competitive excellence and life beyond the course. And that's a story worth watching unfold, one carefully selected tournament at a time.